silent, you have the right and obligation to be present at your trial. If you fail to show up for your trial, they'll place failure to appear charges against you, and you could face an additional 1 to 5 years in jail. You have the right to a trial by jury. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one can be provided for you through the public defender's office. If the charges that are placed on you are discharged, dismissed, not prosecuted, or if you're found not guilty, you have the right to have your record expunged or wiped clean from these charges. Now, you're being charged with a criminal offense, and if you were found guilty, you are facing serious consequences, which may include the payment of a fine, the loss of your driver's license, and the possibility of a jail sentence. In addition, you may face increased penalties for later convictions, the loss of your right to possess firearms or ammunition, and your immigration status could be affected. You have important constitutional rights, including the right to representation by an attorney, but you may lose those rights or waive them if you do not act to protect those rights. You have the right to hire an attorney to represent you in every case. If you cannot afford an attorney, you may be eligible for a free attorney. If you want a determination made as to whether you are qualified for a free lawyer, then it is your obligation to be screened at the location identified in paragraph 5C of the bond checklist form that I'm going to give you tonight. If you do not hire an attorney or go to be screened, then you may be found to have waived your right to an attorney at your trial. You also have the right to represent yourself. However, you should be aware that self-representation can be dangerous. For example, there may be certain factual or legal defenses to your charge that you are not aware of, or legal issues related to the conduct of your trial or guilty plea that an attorney would know how to preserve for an appeal. If you exercise your right to proceed without a lawyer, then you are responsible for complying with all applicable rules of court, including rules of evidence, procedural rules, and proper behavior before the judge and jury. If convicted on the charges filed against you and ordered to pay a fine, you may request a reasonable scheduled payment plan to pay that fine. It is your obligation to keep up with your trial date and to obtain an attorney, either by hiring one or by being screened and found eligible for a court-appointed attorney prior to your trial date. If you do not appear at your trial with your attorney, you may be deemed to have waived your right to have an attorney represent you. You are required to keep the court notified of any changes of address until the completion of your case. Do you understand so far?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, you're being charged with murder, and you're being charged with possession of a weapon during the commission of a violent crime. These are both general sessions charges. You have the right of a preliminary hearing. The preliminary hearing is an evidence hearing where the state has to show that they have the evidence to take you to court. If you want that hearing, take the form I'm going to give you and fill it out. You can mail it or take it to the address on the form, or you can fill it out tonight and give it back to me. But you only have a total of 10 days to get that form turned in. Otherwise, you lose your right to that hearing. Now, it's my understanding in this view that you were the representative for the family. If you have something you'd like to say to the court, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Your Honor, it's been a year, 26 days, 15 hours, and my son was brutally killed and left in the street to die, and he died. I have forgiven these people, this young man. I have forgiven him. I really have. But I want justice to be served because my son was not a perfect person. But for his life to have been taken the way it was so heinous and so unnecessary and so cowardice that it makes no sense to me. My question is why? He jumped out of the car, he ran. Just let him run. But they could have beat him up. You know, I'm very hurt, but in my world, my God is going to be the last person to have to say so. And I know this young man. I knew him when he was little, and it just amazes me at how to my son. Again, I have forgiven him. But the human side as a mother, to raise this young man of mine from birth to 25 years, he was not perfect by no means. But for him to have been done the way he was done, like a dog in the street, like trash, that was just uncalled for. And I just want justice to be served for him and whoever else was involved in my son's demise in his murder.
Amen. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, well, Mr. Talley, your bond is going to be set at a no bond, and you'll have to go before the circuit court judge for a bond hearing. So I'm going to place you under no bond on both charges. Do you have any questions, sir?
No, sir, I do not.
All right. Thank you very much for coming.